Hey guys,
Hello.
welcome. Today I am joined here by the lovely Dacey Black.
Hello.
We are here in New York City celebrating our debut EP release, which just came out this past Sunday. It's called "And by This I Live," and if you'd like to check it out, I'll put it in the description. Oh, that's so hard to say.
Tongue twister.
I know.
In the description, it will be there. The link.
Yeah, it's an acoustic album and it's super fun. So
Super
you should
fun.
listen to it.
Very inspirational. So
yeah, it's inspirational and
I hope that you
positive.
guys enjoy it.
It's not depressing. We're joining you today to talk about stage presence, and who better to bring on than the lovely Dacey Black, who has been singing for over
10 years.
Over 10 years, probably more than that.
Probably
like
more
12
than that.
years.
Yeah. I started lessons at 9. So
yeah, been literally performing since 9 years old.
Yeah.
So she has a lot of really great tips and tricks that actually I've learned from. We've worked together and have taught students together, and we've talked about this with our students, and we feel like it's a really important thing that teachers don't talk about enough.
Yes, not enough teachers
not
talk
enough
about.
teachers don't talk about.
We really found that it's surprisingly not talked about very often with private lessons, when in fact it's probably one of the biggest parts of the music business. Is that ability to perform
super
on
important.
Stage,
I think it really it'll
Mm-hmm.
separate you from a lot of other musicians if you can have good stage presence. Even if you're similarly to what I was talking about in effortless mastery, even if you're not the best performer, technique wise, you can still really make it as a musician if you have good stage presence. It'll make you stand out.
Mm-hmm.
It'll separate you from the other artists and everything.
True.
And we'll go through examples of great artists we love and know. Maybe we'll even throw in some stage performance videos of ours.
That'd be pretty fun.
Yeah, maybe we'll have to throw it in there so you guys can trust us.
Yeah, we can fact check.
Yeah.
I think we're ready to dive
let's
in.
dive
Are you
into
ready?
it. Let's dive into it.
Let's go.
First and foremost, we have to understand, why do people go to concerts?
For why?
What is the reason?
What is the reason that people go to concerts? Well, there's a couple. I think
Can you guess?
Can you guess? Pause the video. No.
Pause the video, write your answers
now.
in the comments right now. Why do people go to concerts?
Well, the first reason is to see the live version of a song. It's great to sit there and listen to your song on Spotify or Apple Music or Tidal, wherever you're listening, YouTube. And that's a great experience, but the whole point of going to an actual show is not to see that carbon copy, but to see that expression and that interpretation.
Yeah, exactly. To experience the performers playing the notes, the guitarist shredding that solo.
Yeah.
Listen to see if that drum beat is changed a little bit.
Yeah. See if your favorite part is still in the song.
See how the inflections change in the vocals. It's definitely, that's a fun part of performing.
The second reason that you might go to a concert is to see that artist in person.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why people spend that extra couple $100s to go to the
$1,000
$1,000 or
to
more.
Be right at the
Right
front
there.
of the stage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because
you can see them.
they want to
right
see them
there.
up close.
But the other reason they spend that extra $1,000 is not only to see the artist, but to be seen by the artist.
To
I
be
think that
seen.
is a very big thing that
Right.
we don't always think about.
Like,
Because-
people want to get a high five. They want to get a little hug from the performer
want that
by
mic.
being right up. They want the mic held over to them.
Mm-hmm.
When an artist is performing and they're looking out to the audience, if they, like, make eye contact with one of their fans, one of their admirers, it's like, oh my God, like, they made eye contact with me. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like, that's, like, very exciting for the audience.
And my dad always loves to talk about how he had the mic from James Brown that one moment. And that will always stay in his memory. And the part that's interesting is that feeling of being seen, then suddenly you are a part of that performance life.
Right, exactly.
Even if it's just like a fleeting moment or a fleeting memory that they have, your face, your personhood is now intertwined with theirs. And that is super magical. Let's talk about what our role is
as the
performer.
performers.
Being a performer is a very big job role. There's a lot of different nuances to
It's
being a
more
performer.
than just playing the music.
Yeah.
We are providing, like, an energy for people to feed off of and to, you know, give them a space to be free to dance around and express themselves. We're giving them the sound to
do that through.
Right?
The medium for their dancing.
Yeah, and you know, giving people, like, a fun night to distract from their day-to-day lives, right?
Yeah, and further their life in general, you know? I think that, like, creating memories for people.
Right,
is
exactly.
part of, and giving them permission to be free and create those memories as well.
Yeah, I mean, I know so many, like, even, like, students that we've taught who it's like, oh my God, like, my parents bought me Olivia Rodrigo tickets.
Yes.
I've been wanting this my whole
it's
year.
very
like,
formative.
or, like, Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Kids are obsessed with Taylor Swift.
I went to Taylor Swift when I was young.
Yeah.
And that was a great experience.
Like,
definitely helped solidify that, you know, music is something that I want to do. Performing is something that I want to do.
yeah.
You know, so it's a very big deal for people to go to these performances. And it's our job to make them feel seen and appreciate that they came out, they spent their time with you, the performer, you know, and that letting them know that they are an integral part of that performance.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk a little bit about different techniques that you can use to make them feel seen, to do your job.
Right.
And to have fun while doing it.
Right, exactly.
That's
That's
really what
one
it's
of the
about.
most important parts is having fun on it. So we can also talk about, like, ways to deal with, like, stage anxiety and stage fright, which I know even, like, a lot of, like, big artists deal with too.
Yeah.
You know, like, it's very common, but there's ways we can, like, take that nervous energy and channel it into a great performance. We have a little checklist for you that you can go through that is guaranteed 100% to improve your stage performance.
Even just by a little bit.
Even just by a little bit.
Yeah.
It will 100% improve it by a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Let's talk about this checklist.
Number one.
Check your space. Find out how much room you have to work with so that you can feel confident taking up space.
Yeah, you don't want to trip on any wires or anything as you're walking around.
Yeah, because I've definitely done that in the past.
I've almost done that. I don't know if I've fully fallen.
Oh,
on
I've
stage.
fully fallen. I've definitely, but I played it off as if it were like a stage sliding moment. Like, yeah, you know what I mean? So it works out, you know.
Yeah, like effortless mastery.
Effortless mastery.
You just do.
Yeah, but first it's better it's way safer, you know, to not have to do that. So definitely check your space.
So look before. See how much space you have. You can, something that I was told when I learned about stage presence in, like, a metal context was to kind of have, like, different zones of the stage, right? Like, you can assign it into, like, different squares. And then you can, like, make sure you're not hanging out in one zone for too long, right? Because you want to be moving about the stage. So that's, like, one strategy.
Find out where those zones are. Then you can use them. If you know what space you have beforehand, you're way less likely to get hurt and way more likely to be confident in the space and be able to move. Now, we definitely recommend doing this during sound check if you can, but a small scan of the space, looking down as you're walking up on stage, is hugely beneficial to you.
You want to make sure you're present, you know, and aware of your surroundings, right? Before you lose yourself on stage and like kind of let go.
Number two. Find 3 things at the back of the audience that you can move your attention between. That way you are acknowledging the full audience without having to make eye contact with every single person. Because that's impossible. And sometimes that can impact your stage fright, actually. A lot of people worry about freezing when they see all the human beings that are in front of them, seeing them, right? But you can still pay homage to those people, let them know that you are thankful that they're there without making eye contact and losing your space.
Yeah, exactly. And I think this works especially well for like singers, where I think it's even more important to be looking out to the crowd, because oftentimes I'll see instrumentalists sort of, and I'm guilty of this too, just getting like lost in their instruments. Recently I've been trying to look out to the audience more and sort of using this strategy, and I really do think it has an impact in my stage performance if I am looking out a little bit, going back and forth between super into my guitar playing and then like looking out in the crowd, maybe playing to someone in the audience. It really shows a lot of like confidence, I think, too.
Definitely. And not only should you be looking out at your crowd, but acknowledging the people on stage with you when it's their time to shine.
Yeah,
we'll get back into that once we talk about taking up space and what that means.
Right.
So let's talk about it. Taking up space, right?
Number three. Take up space.
Take up space. If you want a good song about that, Serena Jade, Take Up Space.
Take Up Space by Serena Jade.
Take up space, shout a little louder.
So, space, what does that even mean? You can take up space with your physical body, moving vertically, up and down, horizontally, across the stage. But you can also take up space with your energy.
Yeah.
That being your eyes.
Yes.
Looking around at those 3 artifacts.
Your face.
Or 3 things that you've chosen at the back, right? Knowing how to share the space.
Right.
Yeah.
You want to avoid doing patterns with your movements. Like, when I remember my very first performance, I was like wobbling like this. I was taking up space in some way.
Yeah.
But you could tell I was very, very anxious and nervous. Honestly, I don't know if that's a movement I would do at all anymore, but
Yeah,
like
no,
you can
definitely.
do a little bit.
I think a 2-step is very useful to you.
Okay,
I think
yeah,
a 2-step is super useful, especially for moments where you're not trying to stand out.
But don't do that the whole time, though.
Yeah.
You want to try to switch it up.
One thing that is true, and there's a scientific reason for why we want to break patterns, we have eyes in the front of our face. Henceforth, we are predatory creatures, right? So it's our natural biological reaction to look for patterns in our environment so that we can decode what's going on, right? So if you see someone stepping in one way a bunch of times, you're going to pick up on that pattern real quick. And you're going to be anticipating that because it's our jobs to anticipate the future, right? So if you are constantly breaking patterns, that is going to grab people's attention. That's why I was saying the 2-step is great for backup singers. Why?
Yeah, especially.
Because you're trying to fall into a pattern so that it's not distracting to the soloist. Right? So if you're a soloist, though, you probably don't want to fall into those patterns.
Yeah. Especially, I mean, if you have like a guitar solo, you don't want to be in the back just like... You want to move up to the front of the stage. Like, that's your time to shine. Like, that's the time for the lead vocalist to take a step back, acknowledge there's a guitar solo happening, and then the guitarist to step up to the front of the stage and like...
And take up that space.
Take a peek at the audience, see who's looking, you know?
Yes. And I think that's another really important aspect of being a great leader as a musician, is that ability to take up space and also know when to share it. Right?
Yes,
Because
exactly.
music is a communal sport.
Right. You don't want to be like the overbearing guitarist who's like just playing like bring, and you're just like at the front of the stage moving in front
and
of
you don't want to be that vocalist who says guitar solo and just hangs out right in front of the guitarist and everyone's like, and
don't ignore your bassist
or your bassist, right?
Good bass stage presence is a thing
It's
too.
key, right? And that is what makes a great leader. Somebody who acknowledges the strengths and talents of other people, and who wants to uplift that rather than is threatened by those successes and that confidence. You know, because when the tide rises, all boats rise with it.
That's especially important. I mean, you're just gonna get more musical opportunities by being like that too, you know? Like, that's what makes good musicianship, I think, is if you're able to share the stage, able to be humble, but also know when it's your time to shine, you know?
Since we were talking a little bit about vertical and horizontal movements, what are some examples of those things, right? I think a lot of people ask, okay, we can do those, but what are some examples? Like, what are we actually supposed to do, right?
Right.
So, some examples of horizontal space: moving across the stage, maybe even moving towards those 3 artifacts, using the technique you were talking about
with the zones, going into different zones of the stage.
And then furthermore, swaying, 2-step, that was a good one. Now let's talk about maybe
you
vertical
can like go
space,
up
too.
and down too, especially like as a singer, or like even as a
vertical space,
guitarist, like bringing your guitar like closer to the audience, to the stage, like leaning down a little bit, or even like leaning back. Or if you're a singer, like you can take the mic, you can go up and down with it.
Totally.
Crouch down, sing at the audience, like that sort of thing.
Yeah, and use props. So one prop, for example, would be an instrument. One thing that I love that you've shown our students, and that's made a big difference in their performances, at least visually, is moving
the neck of the guitar up and down, or even like with your strumming. Like you'll see, like if you watch like, I don't know, like some pop punk performance or something, you're gonna see Nirvana. They're like really like moving their arm and stuff, like more they're not just like, well, I guess it depends on the dynamic of the song, but like I think just like how you move your hands and stuff and how you move your instrument, I think can do a lot in a stage performance.
Same with drums.
Yeah, and drums,
that's a big one.
Yeah, I mean,
you could do this a beat like this, or you could do that same beat like this. Just a tiny bit of extra movement in space-wise makes a huge difference in confidence and perceived confidence.
Even with drummers, like you can be moving your head and stuff. Even though like you're sitting down, it's like you can still like have that stage presence in your face and in your hands.
Think of really great performers who play piano, like Stevie Wonder or Elton John. They are moving. They're not going across the stage, but they're still using vertical.
They're still moving
and horizontal space, right?
Exactly.
To create interest and break patterns, right? And feel free, you know. So that's a really great.
Speaking of, I'd love to actually look at some examples of performers and kind of analyze some of these performances, and see what we can take away from them. So, okay, this is a great one. We have a James Brown here.
Through that jacket. Oh, hey, look at that footwork.
Yeah, this is crazy.
That's a vertical and horizontal space at the same time.
Yeah.
What he's doing is he's showing his audience how they can do this. Well, right? You lead by example.
What's great about this is he is, you know, he's taking his moments. There's no singing. He's gonna dance around. He's gonna take up space in all the ways that he can, and then when it's his time to sing, he goes up to the stage. He's pretty like stagnant, but he still has the groove, you know.
Another example of something that you can do is to come up with little tiny bits of choreography, little moves that you know are going to work for you at different times, and then as you're in a live performance and you're feeling the music, you can draw from those little movements. Yeah. It's similar to learning how to solo, right? I think you talked about this in one of your other videos. Learning a bunch of other musicians' work, or just learning a bunch of solo moments that you appreciate, making them up yourself, and then being able to pull that out in a live context.
Yeah, it's like the same thing, but sort of with like movements.
Exactly.
So you can oh, look at the horn players. Yeah, they got the two-step going on. They're like the background musicians.
Interesting, but it's not distracting. So another thing that we can use, not only is it eye-catching to break patterns with more movements, but it's really also eye-catching to break patterns with a full stop, right?
Right.
Because in nature, you're running with your friends, right? And then suddenly one person stops, you're all gonna stop because whoa, what's happening? What's new? What am I supposed to be paying attention to?
Right.
So that's something that draws people in.
That was great. Wait, let's look at another one.
Let's look at a new one.
What about this
Oh, yes. My Chemical Romance
Where
is
should we go?
a very, very great example with all the musicians. Not only are they great with movement, but also crowd work.
I love how, yeah, he is great. Great vertical space. Yeah.
Not taking yourself too seriously.
The guitar player has a solo here.
He stepped aside.
See, look at how he's
guitar.
picking, you know? Like, he's moving his hand, like, more than
his
he
head.
needs to. Moving his head.
Yeah, way more than technically needed.
Yeah.
But it's expressive.
Yeah, it's expressive, exactly.
Crowd participation, letting them know that they're an integral part of this performance.
Do we look at the talking heads?
Oh, yes. So, part
This
of
is
what
a
is so
great
great
one.
about the talking heads is it shows how you can really be yourself, do weird movements.
Yeah, like, it's okay to be weird. It's okay to be silly. Like, people love to see that, you
Yeah,
know? Like,
it's
people just
interesting.
want to see you being yourself. You don't, like, you want to try not to worry too much about, you know, the judgment of others and try not to let that fear control your performance, right? Like,
yeah, or stifle it.
yeah, or stifle it. Like, you just be yourself and have fun, really. And I think this performance of the talking heads is really good at portraying that.
Yes.
Let's check this out.
One thing you have to learn as a musician is that people are going to judge you no matter what. But that's not what defines you. For every person that is like judgmental in a negative way, I don't like that move. It's gonna be another person who's very excited about it and will support you. Like, this is awesome. Look at this right here. They're just not your audience. You just have another audience. Another thing he does is he illustrates the lyrics. If you don't know what to do, just do a little bit of charades.
I love the instrumentalists are, like, kind of matching the energy.
Yes. Here we go.
A little choreographed move going on here. But yeah, like, he's just having fun, expressing himself,
see
being
later, but
weird
this
and
one-
silly.
And
And
he
it,
like runs around the stage. And
yeah, it lets the audience know that they can also be weird and silly and have crazy dance moves, you know?
Yeah, it gives you it gives the audience permission to be silly. And like we were saying, it really does your performance as a someone who's on stage really dictates what people who are off stage feel comfortable participating in, like as far as dance moves go. You know, it really sets the tone.
I get a little bit of Prince now.
It wouldn't be a good performance video without showing a little bit of Prince.
Yeah, look at his dance moves here.
Got hips for days.
Horizontal space.
Yeah. There's a little, maybe choreographed, maybe not, but perfect for that time, so threw it right in there. Look at this next move. Definitely took a little bit of practice.
Yeah. Doing the crowd in there.
Crowd participation.
Okay.
Like, you guys are just such a part of it.
He looks so cool. And, like, I love how the whole band is moving too. Yeah. This is great. Yeah.
This is great.
The whole
Telling audiences how they can move, like
whole
doing
crowd,
dances. That's
yeah.
why, I mean, there's obviously many reasons why Chaperone blew up, but a lot of a lot of momentum came from, right, little dancing.
Yeah,
movements
people
that you
love to get involved in that stuff.
And one thing that's really big is doing expansive movements. So telling your audience for a second to use their hands, go up in the air.
Yeah, and
then it gives them permission to be expansive, and actually, then it's like way more. You can be way more confident.
And it makes the audience feel like they're part of the performance.
Yeah.
There's tons of different performance videos that you can look through and analyze and be like, wow, this was like a great performance. And you can see all of these different ideas being used. The idea of taking up horizontal, vertical space, moving to different parts of the stage, using their props, using their microphone stand, microphone cable, or like their guitar, their pick, their headstock. And you can see all these different things that are being used to really elevate a stage performance.
Yeah. And what you use is up to you.
Right.
You know, there's no wrong answer. It's all artistry.
Yeah.
So we just want to give you the tools so that you can make whatever art that you want to make with it.
So another question you might have is like thinking about how those performances were amazing, but like maybe you yourself, or I've also experienced this, where it's like, I don't know how I can do that. I have a lot of stage fright or stage anxiety, which is completely normal. So how do we deal with that? I think a mindset that has really changed things for me was trying not to worry too much about whether or not I'm playing the best or playing all the right notes or anything, but instead just kind of putting myself in the mindset of like, okay, I just want to have fun. Like, this is what I love to do. Like, performing is just like the best feeling in the world, and I understand that, and even though I had this anxiety, I need to channel that into energy of just, let me just enjoy myself and let go on stage and move around. And I know that as a performance is going to be more impactful than if I am standing still and playing every note right. So,
talent can only take you so far.
Right,
you know?
yeah.
There's also the expression side of it that's equally as important.
Yeah, exactly. So I think a great tool to help out with this as well is to just like take like 3 deep breaths before you go up on stage. Think about like, set your intention almost, like think about what you want to do. Maybe you just take your 3 deep breaths and go, I'm just gonna try to embody that confidence. I'm just gonna try to have as much fun as possible on stage, and I think that will turn into a great performance.
Yeah,
Like that's like what I tell myself, honestly.
Yeah, it really is all about having fun, you know? And one thing that taking those 3 deep breaths helps you with is to take that transition from your day, whatever that may have been, and move into the space of performing.
Right.
And having that little tiny transition can be super huge. We all feel anxiety in different ways. You know, that for me, I feel it in my hands, right? A lot of times I get like a little bit of like adrenaline boost moving through, and I can feel a little bit of like vibration in my hands. So sometimes I'll just like dance it out, get a little bit of that momentum going so that I can perform well. It won't be that energy won't be debilitating, like you were saying. We have these reactions for a reason. We have adrenaline so that we can run away from the bear, right? That's coming for us. When you're getting on stage, it's kind of like you're about to fight a battle, right?
Exactly.
So you have to have that adrenaline. Your body at least gives you that so that you can use it. So what we want to do is we want to channel that energy into something positive.
Yeah.
You know? And realize that it's fun.
It's fun. It's so fun. Like, music, it's not a big deal. We're just playing our silly little instruments.
You know?
And people just want to have fun with that, you know?
We have different aspects of our personality that are equally valid but very different from one another, right? So you might be one way around your friends, another with your sibling who knows you the most. You could be different with your parents' friends, maybe even. Like maybe that's your more reserved one. You know, it's all different. And then you have your stage persona that you curate, you know, and you've decided at the forefront, oh, this is how I want to be, right? And then you go up there and you embody it, and then that becomes a part of you. A lot of times people have this thing called imposter syndrome, right? Where they'll feel like, okay, yes, I've curated this persona, and I get on stage and I become them, but I worry, like, that's not the real me. Like, I also am a human being with multifaceted personalities, weaknesses, strengths, passions, you know what I mean? And so that's just one dimension of you, but it is still you, right? And you have the choice to curate who you are as an individual, right? And it's fluid, it moves. So just know that, like, just because you maybe turn on your baddie switch or whatever it is when you're getting on stage and you have that persona, that is also you.
Hopefully you were able to get a little bit of something out of this video. Hopefully if you like to perform, this can help you out to elevate your performances.
We just want you to be able to express yourself
Yeah.
in the way that's most authentic to you and not feel like you have to fit a certain mold. Yes, there's great things that a lot of these performers do, but they all do it in different little ways, right? It's a different combination for each person.
Right.
And that's what makes them special and unique. One final announcement. With both of us.
Stream our new EP. I think it really encapsulates a lot of these ideas we've been talking about of being present.
This is the name.
Manifestation. And By This I Live is out now on all platforms if you'd like to check it out.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next video.
Thanks for having me.
Of course.
Bye.
Bye.